How's it going, everybody? And welcome once again to another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Live Podcast. We're short Danny B talks, at least for the beginning of the stream. He'll be joining us later on. But in his place, we have our special guest this week, KamikazeGames. My name is Eric. Welcome to the stream. I'll let the panel introduce themselves. Say hi to everyone, Darian.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Darren Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter. Got some new uploads this week. The Kyle Petty Good Seasons video, 92 and 93. Believe it or not, there was once a time where he didn't suck. So I had to show you guys that. And also the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series is kind of officially underway. We just had the preseason race, which I won, by the way, at Chicagoland, and Eric won the Roval. And he was very good at the Roval. Him and IDK were both, by the way. And we have two more preseason races this Friday at Talladega and Atlanta. And the link to the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series channel is in the description. So go subscribe to that. And and also there's supposed to be an upload for the from the post race interviews from the first two preseason races. So I said some pretty interesting things. So go subscribe and you'll hear about it later. All right, so I'm going to pass it off to Garrett.
Jeez, Darian, you're being the Jeff Goldblum of NASCAR. What's up, everybody? I'm the Iceberg. Just happy to be on again. Really quick, new missing rings, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, so tune in for that. And now I'll hand it over to our guest.
You can hear us. Hey, how's
it's
it
my
going?
turn, right?
Yeah.
I'm laying it over. All right, so howdy and hello and good evening, YouTube. It's your boy, KamikazeGames. I make videos occasionally. Maybe watch them. I don't know.
I like that new intro.
I'm also a food reviewer now, so
Yeah.
don't forget the heat.
Interesting. All right, what are we getting into first?
Well, I feel like the most logical place to start is, with the most recent thing well, I guess it's not the most recent thing, but we should start with the most recent race. This last weekend was the second playoff race, Richmond International. What's it called? No, it's just Richmond Raceway now. Saturday night race, won by Kyle Busch. I guess we should just go down the line. Everyone give your general thoughts about it. Definitely less eventful than Las Vegas was. But kind of maybe a good, happy, like kind of like a breath of fresh air before we go into the Roval this weekend, which could be who knows what. So, what do you guys think of the Richmond race?
Man, I don't get it had mixed reviews, but I don't get why people were saying it was a bad race. I was watching it from on the NBC Sports app while I was working the bull ring on Saturday. And we saw some passing and stuff. We saw some battles. There was a lot of battles, like little battles here and there. And especially that battle for the lead at the end, was definitely good. And, I think also the winner had something to do with it too. Kyle Busch, now 50 career Cup Series wins, passes Tony Stewart on the all-times wins list. Tony Stewart had 49. Kyle Busch now has 50. That's crazy. And he's only 33, 34, something like that. So he still has a long way to go. He still has 10 or 11 more years left in the Cup Series. So so that's good. And we also had some playoff implications too during this race. Stenhouse spun Hamlin. I guess since he ruined his season, he wanted to ruin someone else's. And Eric Jones was just bad too. He had problems and stuff. And it's crazy. Hamlin and Jones are below the cut line, as well as Johnson and I can't remember who
Clint Boyer.
And Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer is below the cut line already in round 1, 2. And what's interesting is that the three guys above the cut line are the guys that they're at least the guys that I predicted would have been out of the first round too. So
yeah, me too.
I don't. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy so far, but now we're going to the Roval and stuff, so I can't wait for that. But honestly, I'd have to give this race, I'd say a solid 7.5 out of 10, just because of all the passing we saw in the battles and some of the strategy calls and all that. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm a little lower. I'll say 6.5. It's better than a lot of the Richmond races have been. I've noticed under the Gen 6, Richmond especially has been kind of lackluster compared to a lot of the other short track races we have. I missed it live, so I literally watched it today, so I sort of have it fresh in mind. There was a lot of passing. I like that. I liked a lot of passing for the lead too. I don't know what exactly it was for me. And it wasn't, Kyle Busch being up there, because him and Keselowski battling for the lead really had me invested for a while. Great. I don't know why the rest of it didn't really have me too invested. You had those pretty good moments here or there, like the one where Stenhouse hit Hamlin because Stenhouse has to hit something. You had Jeffrey Earnhardt causing that caution, bunching the field up and stuff.
No, that was Kenseth's fault.
Yeah, it was all Kenseth.
Again, I was skimming through because, again, I wasn't really that invested. It wasn't a bad race. I wouldn't even say it was. I'd say it's the higher end of mediocre, lower end of good, which for Gen 6 Richmond races is higher end. But, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else I have to say about it other than the fact that I'm surprised with what the bottom four is right now, especially Denny Hamlin being at Richmond. That was pretty interesting. And then also the fact that I think Brad Keselowski finished 9th after battling for the lead with like 30 to go.
Yeah, he used his tires up. He used his tires up like during that battle, and he was just done.
That is one thing I really like about Richmond, is that you got to take care of the tires, take care of the brakes. You have to basically be a good all-around driver, and I think that's why Kyle Busch is so good at this track. But yeah, that's my take.
What did you think about it, Kamikaze?
See, I keep trying to say things, but then my internet lags whenever it's my turn. And there go the lights. Wow. Amazing.
Holy crap. It's just like...
So before I give my opinion on this race, I was going to go to the radio station like I always do, but it's being used by someone else. And I'm just sitting there like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I have a show to go on. I have expectations. I have deadlines. And you're sitting here. What are you doing? Look at the computer screen. Just glance at it. It's like just a green screen. And it's like, oh, you're learning how to use Adobe? There's an entire computer lab for that. Right?
You should have told him.
I don't know. I'm probably. No, I'm not a douche. But anyway. So I guess we're just going to do it in the dark and try and get rid of that glare.
Looked like a Steven Spielberg spotlight fetish.
Exactly. I feel like I'm in the Titanic sequel. Isn't there a sequel?
Started Jurassic.
Did they make a sequel to Titanic?
This podcast is about racing.
Yes.
And the race, I just can't justify giving it more than 6 out of 10. The first 2 stages were just boring. Nothing happened. Truex got out front. He just sat there the entire time. And I mean, the last stage was good. I'll give it that. It's always great seeing green flag pit stops at any track and comers and goers that come from that. But the battle between Busch and Keselowski, obviously, they always put on a great show whenever it's both of them battling for anything. So yeah, I do give it a 6 out of 10. Just what a disappointment compared to the Xfinity race and the race in the spring.
Yeah, I thought the Xfinity race was a very pleasant surprise, and I want to talk about that in a second. But as far as the Cup race went, my biggest complaint about it was there was a good amount of passing, especially in mid-pack, and there was some good battles for the lead. But the biggest problem, and I don't know if it's really a problem, but the biggest shakeups in the running order didn't come from, like guys making mistakes on pit road or guys like wrecking or anything like that. It came from penalties more than anything. That's what, and Hamlin ran into Stenhouse. That was probably their biggest incident of the race. Jones had a penalty, put him back in traffic. Johnson had a penalty that forced him to have to come from the back, which was kind of entertaining to see. Kyle Busch obviously started in the rear and had to come through to the front of the field at some point. But I felt like penalties, that's what hurt Truex. I believe, wasn't it Truex? Didn't Truex get a penalty as well? I think it was
that rule. Oh my gosh, that rule is
controlled tire rule.
Needless to say, and I think Logano got one as well, that kind of did in a lot of playoff drivers. Whereas the week before at Vegas, it was wrecks that were screwing over playoff drivers. This one, it was penalties, which is, it's fun because it shakes up the running order and it's kind of, interesting in that sense, but it lacks the spectacle aspect that crashes have at places like Las Vegas. And now Danny's calling in from the road. Look at this. What is he holding up? I can't
focus on him.
What is?
I can't say anything. I can't see past the bars in the bottom. Lift it up a little. Wanted to see you guys. Say hello real fast. See
And
you
later.
Danny, blink twice if you're in danger, Danny. All right. All right. Little Danny B cameos over here.
All right,
Oh,
we got a
yes.
carnation clip.
Oh, that's awesome.
Danny
That was
B doesn't talk.
Anyway,
Danny B mute.
Danny do mute.
Danny be on the job making that money. That's what it sounds like. But yeah, that's all I really had to say. I would give the race about a 6 out of 10 because, while Truex was really strong the first half, and then I did like how the second half we saw, battles with Keselowski. Who was the other guy that was up front for a while there? Oh my gosh. Harvick. Wasn't I'm thinking of the race.
I thought Harvick was gonna catch up to Busch right there for a little bit. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna get good right here."
Yeah,
but let me just say, man, this uncontrolled tire rule. I even tweeted this out. I had a little bit of a rant about it on Twitter. Like, it is such. I'm not gonna say the word, but it's such BS, man. Like, if the tire is in the box, then it should be fine. But it has to be. What's the rule? An arm's length away from the crew guy and stuff. Like, how can you even really judge that consistently? Like, it's just an unnecessary rule. If it's in the box, it should stay in the box.
Why did they change that rule? Because that used to be the rule, was just you had to keep it in the box. Why did they change that? It feels like that's only the last couple of years they made this new rule.
Gimmicks, probably gimmicks.
No, I mean, I'm sure they had a real reason. They didn't just do it just to say, screw everyone. I'm sure they had a safety reason.
I'm not sure, but the definition they always give to anything changing on pit road is safety. But I don't really see where there needed to be a rule being changed there. It reminds me of the NFL, what's a catch, what's a tackle, what's, like stuff like that, or how traveling is only called once in a blue moon in the NBA to make something interesting. It's like, it's needless, it doesn't really affect the race in any way when a person does it, beforehand. Oh, maybe a tire got away once in a blue moon, but it's like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand why they have the rule in this place. In this case, I will say in this race, most of the uncontrolled tire penalties were obvious. And I kind of look at it as the sense of, I get it's a bad rule, but, as a Kenseth fan who had to deal with it, Kenseth getting eliminated at Kansas last year because of a bad rule, I couldn't argue it because it was the rule and they just screwed it up. And I feel like in this case, if you know the rule is you got to keep the tire within arm's length, I don't understand why these big name teams especially commit this penalty so often. Like, pit stops don't change all that much. I feel like that's something you should be able to rehearse and basically get right 100% of the time. It honestly kind of shows a lack of discipline that so many of these pit crews this year. I know that they shrunk it down from 6 to 5, but honestly, I feel like it's a blemish on the pit crews more than it is on anything else that you can't get this thing right when you're doing the same thing every week. Like, it's weird to me. It feels like this should be so well rehearsed that NASCAR could make up tons of new rules and these teams would have the resources to adapt and adjust and not mess up so often. So I'm just shocked that so many of these happen this week. I think that's why people are complaining about it, because it's happening so often all of a sudden.
Yeah, I get it's the rule, but it's still a dumb rule though. But go ahead.
I just want to defend the pit crews quickly. So it is rehearsed. You can tell because these guys do. This has been like we're 7 months into the season. That's what 27 races, 28 races that we've completed thus far. Like they get into a system and like it's when you're learning an instrument, it's kind of muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of the situation because you see, especially this weekend, I remember it was Truex's and Logano's. They had replays, and the crew member, the right front tire changer, looked back both times because I'm assuming they were anticipating it. And these stops are so streamlined that if there's any hiccup, there's lost time, and that's a loss in the momentum. And the right front tire changer is expecting the rear tire changer to be ready. And if he's not ready, then he's just going to go off. He's not going to pay attention to that because he knows that his job is to get the car out as fast as possible. And if he's paying attention to that, it's just going to slow him down. So that's my in defense of the pit crews, because people know that I like to rag on pit crews a lot. So I'm going to throw them a bone this time, but only this time.
And also, lastly, just really quick, I like what Tyler Johnson says in the chat. He's like, it's arm's length is such a gray area. I mean, I don't know. It could get so bad to where like the championship is decided on a BS uncontrolled tire rule like call, and like on like the final pit stop of the season, So I mean, it'll, and also, I mean, just imagine. I mean, my championship pick is Kyle Larson, but just imagine if he loses the title because of that BS rule. Can you imagine how pissed off the fans will be, or if Chase Elliott lost the title on something like that? But if it's Kyle Busch or like Kevin Harvick, then everyone's fine with it. But still, you know what I mean. It shouldn't have to come down to that. And I just think they just need to get rid of this. If it's in the pit lane, if it's in your pits, then it should be fine.
I agree that the gray area is my biggest problem with it. I think that's just, it's annoying. Baseball, the biggest complaint people have is over balls and strikes because it's a gray area. So I don't understand why NASCAR would create a gray area rule. But I also want to say, I get that the pit crews, they do rehearse it. I know it's very rehearsed. I'm just surprised they still make so many mistakes. I feel like there would come a point where most of these teams would make a lot fewer mistakes. I get that, like, specifically taking the lug nuts off the tire, the car's not always parked in the exact same spot. I can understand why there are variables occasionally, but it feels like this year, and I know it's probably because they shrunk the size of the crews from 6 to 5, but this year, and it feels like even as the year's gotten later, there have been more and more penalties, and that's just a little surprising to me. But yeah, anything else you guys want to say about the rule, about Richmond? We can talk about the playoff implications a little bit more if y'all want.
I do want to ask, what was that video you put out like last week about the big three being dead?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, you guys want me to defend myself? I've been doing it all the time.
Yeah. And who can you just tell me who finished in the top 3 in this race?
I almost forgot about that.
I don't remember the exact order, but I know Kyle Busch won. I think it was Kevin Harvick finishing 2nd. And did Truex come back to finish 3rd? Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes, he did.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. So I made a video a week ago where I claimed that the big 3 is dead. And in the video, I explained that what I was referring primarily to was the narrative, this narrative that we've basically been spoon-fed since June, that the big 3 is dominating and that Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. are going to waltz their way to Homestead, and one of them is going to easily win the championship. That's a narrative that's been pushed an exhausting amount on the fan base for the last 3-4 months. And over the course of the last 4 to 6 I'd argue almost since July, I feel like the big 3 is no longer the big 3. I feel like the big 3 is the big 4 or the big 5 on a consistent basis. And I said that in the video. And when I explained my reasoning for that is because Brad Keselowski had won 3 races in a row. We hadn't talked about Brad Keselowski, and he'd been outrunning the big 3 for 4 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row. And he had a good car, almost won this race at Richmond. Probably had a top 5 car until he burned Estepp up at the end. And then you look at Chase Elliott. He finally got his first win. Eric Jones finally got his first win. The two of them had been top 5 machines at the end of the regular season. They've been running right there with the big 3. Big 3 hadn't won a race. I don't think it'd been at least 4 or 5 weeks between this Richmond win and then the last time a big 3 driver had won a race. That's significant given how many races the 3 of them have won this year. So that was my point. The big 3 is not dead in the sense that Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. suck. In that video, I specifically said they are still the 3 biggest favorites to win the championship. My point was that now we can finally rejoice because this narrative that we've been exhausted by, the whole big 3 narrative, is finally dead and gone. We can now look at Brad Keselowski or Chase Elliott, or on a given week, maybe a Boyer or Kurt Busch, as teams that can now compete and beat the big 3. I don't think it's a lock that Kyle Busch or Truex or Harvick are going to win the championship now. If Larson sneaks in the Final 4, he could very well be the favorite. Clint Boyer could be the favorite, although he's been garbage lately. Brad Keselowski, if he makes it to Homestead at this rate, might be the favorite. And that was my only point. The narrative is dead, and I still fully believe that, even though I know they finished 1, 2, 3 this week, and that makes me look bad. But at the end of the day, I never argued that they are no longer competitive or that they're no longer at the top of the series. I just argued, and I said this so many times in that video and on Twitter since then, that for all season long, the big 3 have been here, and the next best guy has been like, I don't know, not Keselowski. Who's been the next best guy? Logano, Boyer? I don't know. They've been over here somewhere.
Like really
now, I don't know if they've fallen back or if the other teams have all caught up, but now it's like here. It's pretty even. It's the big 4, big 5, and that was my point. And I hope people are finally starting to understand that because the jokes are funny. I like the jokes. I like Radman's joke in his video. Like, I get it. I can take it. It is funny. But I still think my point stands, and I think my point is very clear and still somewhat relevant. And I'm surprised so many people are like quick to be like, no, the big 3's not dead. Hasn't everyone been waiting all season to be able to like sing about how the big 3's dead?
I know.
It's like the Wizard of Oz song, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. I feel like we should all be rejoicing, but now everyone's like, I told you so.
I felt like it was perfect timing the week after you put that video. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah, that was a nice slap in the face. But I appreciate the extra publicity. Thank you, Big Three.
And also, what's funny is you gave Radman permission to use that clip to like roast you, basically. So
yeah, I did. It didn't bother me at all. I thought it would be funny. It was funny. Anyway, yeah. So, is there anything else? Did you guys want to talk about playoff picture? You guys hinted at it a little bit. You got Denny Hamlin and Eric Jones are in a big hole now, going into the final race of round one. You got Clint Boyer and Jimmy Johnson, who are both right there on the bubble with Bowman, Blaney. I think Austin Dillon's like around 10th or something like that.
Yeah.
Who's in trouble? Who do you guys think is in trouble?
Man,
everyone.
Yeah, I was about to say. Well, yeah. Obviously, everyone who's not locked in and stuff, they're obviously in trouble. But
Eric, who came into the series 2013 and to now is in trouble.
Yeah.
With the Roval, yeah.
But man, Eric Jones, man, like he was my championship 4 pick because of his consistency. And what does he do? He becomes inconsistency. Like, yeah, I will say the first Vegas race was not his fault. He was caught up and he had some extremely bad luck during that one. Harvick blows the tire and he just happens to be right there. And at Richmond, I don't know, he didn't really get involved in anything. He just wasn't running good. Am I correct in saying that?
It's about he just ran. Yeah, he was like a 12th place car all night.
Yeah, so I obviously he's the most in trouble here and stuff out of all of them. Clint Boyer, man, what a surprise too. Like, you know, he's been sort of consistent too. I mean, he was running for the win at Indianapolis, and now he's like out on the outside looking in. And Hamlin, who that wasn't his fault, that was Stenhouse's fault. Stenhouse is he just wrecks everyone and stuff, or just gets in everyone's way. It seems like every single week.
I debate on that one, but sure, go ahead.
And then the last one. Who's the last one? Who am I missing?
Did you say Boyer yet?
Yeah, Johnson? Boyer. Boyer, Johnson. Yes, Johnson. And that's the one I already picked. But he almost proved me wrong again. I mean, at Vegas, he was running 5th before that blown tire. So, I mean, but what's interesting is that the top 3, the 3 who are above, are the guys I predicted to not move on and stuff. But hey, we're going to the Roval. So things could really swing, you know, in the other direction too. So you just got to watch out for that.
Well, I mean, you look at I have the standings right here, and Larson, Kurt Busch, Elliott, Dillon, Bowman, and Blaney are all the ones above that are within 20 points of the cut line. Boyer and Johnson are the 2 below that are within 20 points of the cut line. Now, why do I say that? It's because 2 stages, if you win 2 stages, that's 20 points right there. And very easily any of them could finish outside the top 10 in these stages, especially guys like Dillon, Bowman, Blaney, Elliott, you know, these younger guys who, you know, generally the younger guys have been struggling in the testing, and now you have a brand new track. I just think it plays into the favor of the veteran guys. So I would say that Boyer and Johnson have a better shot of making it, even though they're below the cut line, than guys like Dillon, Bowman, and Blaney right now.
And plus, I mean, Blaney, he's all over the place. Richmond, he was inconsistent for most of that race. Again, you know, and for some of the Vegas race, he was again, too. I can't remember where he finished at Richmond, but I don't think it was even in the top 10. I think it was like maybe 15th or 16th a lap down. So Blaney, I mean, he could swing either way. And also Dillon can swing either way, too. But give Dillon props. They've turned their program around there as of late.
I was going to say, oh, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, a lot of people were giving him crap, including myself, like, oh, this is why we don't have the playoffs. He's only in because of that one restrictor plate win, which just so happened to be the sport's biggest race, the Daytona 500. But now they've gotten it figured out over there.
I was going to say, yeah, Austin Dillon has earned his spot in the round of 12. And I hate to say it because I picked him to finish 16th and basically be a non-factor. But he's had top 10 cars in the first 2 races. I don't know about Las Vegas. I think there he took advantage of other people wrecking all over the place and finished like 11th or 12th still. So still not a great day. But good. He stunned me at Richmond. And I also want to shout out Eric Almirola because my first 4 out were going to be Almirola, Austin Dillon, Blaney, and Bowman. I'm still pretty confident Bowman and Blaney are screwed, and maybe Austin Dillon too. I don't see them running well at all this weekend, and I think Boyer and Johnson especially will easily outrun them. But Eric Almirola is like 5th or 6th in the standings. He's very likely to move on, and I just wanted to give him some props because I think he finished 5th at Richmond this weekend, and I did not see that coming.
He was good. He was good in the spring race. He was almost bound for the lead in the spring race too.
Yeah, he turned it on for these playoffs as well because he had a solid round or a good damage control day at Las Vegas. So yeah, Austin Dillon and Eric Almirola have really surprised me in these playoffs so far. Everything else other than the wrecks at Vegas hasn't really surprised me too much. I still think Blaney came back down to earth with a terrible Richmond race. Alex Bowman has been just kind of a non-factor. That's why they're right there on the bubble, despite the trouble that Johnson and Jones and Hamlin and them have had. They're still right there with them. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
And just to sort of refresh with everyone, so there's 3 guys in right now: Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex. Truex in on points. Harvick has to finish, I think they said 37th to lock himself in. I found that weird because doesn't 36 also get 1 point?
I heard he just basically has to start the race.
Yeah, I mean there might not be even be 37 cars in the race, so he might just lock his way in there.
Yeah. So and then the below the cutoff line, Eric Jones is minus 21. Denny Hamlin. God, I'm sounding like Darian now. Minus 29. So I mean that's I'd say Jones and Hamlin are. It's going to take a little bit more for them. They're going to probably have to win, unless they get a big miracle like with I forgot who it was in 2014 who managed to get by. After Kyle Busch got out at Talladega kind of thing. They're going to need a miracle.
Wasn't it oh crap, I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was Newman, I think.
But yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's sort of that 6th to 14th range in the grid unless some random winner comes in, but I really don't think I'll save my picks for later.
So apparently everyone in the chat are saying there's 40 cars entered, which is good, and I think someone said Stanton Barrett is entered too. So somebody wants to, I don't know if he's trolling or not. So someone go check that out. But Kamikaze,
car.
Yeah, but Kamikaze, what are your thoughts
Yes,
on
ma'am.
the playoffs?
Well, the last thing that I expected to see going into the cutoff race for this round was Dillon and Bowman above the cut line. Never would have imagined that. And I mean, even after Vegas, I still thought okay, Richmond, they're probably going to come back down the earth. Hamlin probably will have a good run. That's one of his best tracks. Obviously, he does not. Jones, who knows with Jones. But yeah, it's crazy. This first round has been one of the wildest first rounds of any post-2014 chase that I can think of. So, I mean, I'm definitely interested going in because a lot of the guys that are on the good side right now are the ones that, I wouldn't anticipate doing the best at the Roval. And so it's going to be a race worth watching. That's for sure. But, yeah, who knows what's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, that basically sums up the Roval, which, I'm sure most people will be watching. Isn't the race this weekend on NBC?
It's on NBC, network television.
There we go.
Finally.
And I think speaking of TV ratings, that should lead us into a little bit. I want to talk about the Xfinity race this last weekend, and we can talk a little bit about the Cup Series race. Before we specifically talk about ratings, though, this Xfinity race this last weekend was significant because not only was it their first race of their playoffs, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. made his triumphant return to the racetrack in almost a year now. Driving that 88 car for his own team, Junior Motorsports. I think most people, and I polled people on Twitter asking what they thought. Pretty much everyone, even the junior fans, thought he'd be maybe 8th to 15th. They were hoping for a top 15 lead lap run. I don't think anyone really expected him to go out there, qualify second Friday night, and then go on to run in the top 5 and lead a significant portion of the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. looked like his old school self in that Xfinity race. So I don't know. What were you guys' thoughts watching this? Because I know some of y'all are junior fans.
you just said,
junior fan and me was like, oh my! And I'm like, I should not get this excited for an Xfinity race. What the hell am I doing to myself? I'm reverting back to 16-year-old Jarrett,
man.
And then I was like, about whenever before the caution, I'm like, all right, there's gonna be a caution and he's gonna get screwed. Yep, hey, there we go. That's typical junior. Typical junior. Can't get off literally all night though. Every restart spinning the tires. I'm like, hey, he's vintage Dale Jr. again.
I gotta like Eric just said, like, Junior returning to his own self. And my response is, "Yeah, damn right." That was so awesome. That was cool. And just the whole weekend, I was like thinking to myself, did we time travel back to the early 2000s? Because Junior was competing for the win and Tiger Woods won the tour championship thing. So I was like, damn, we've really gone back in time this weekend. But
no, we're still in the present. Buffalo won against the Vikings, so that's all normal. Might as well make a joke before someone else gets there.
Yeah, but I mean, it was so awesome seeing Junior run up front and stuff. Like he qualified second, and I was like, okay, he qualified good, but I still think he'll run about 8th to 10th. Like, at least he'll get a top 10. Like, he's gonna run ahead of Michael Annett. We all at least know that. But
you can't resist, can you?
I can't. He's just a meme at this point. But yeah. Then he started competing for the lead against Justin Allgaier, Christopher Bell, and stuff. And then he takes the lead. I'm like, wow, like he could win this. But then towards the end, there was that caution with that one female driver. She was driving the 15, Leggy, I believe that's her name. Catherine Legg, yeah. Mm-hmm. Catherine Legg, that's her name. And she ended up hitting the wall and stuff, and there was a caution. And then on that pit stop, Matt Tifft, of all people, gets in front of Junior, and Junior has to start on the outside, and the race was pretty much over by then. But Junior was still able to rally and finish 4th. I even did a Twitter poll afterwards saying, do you think Junior should run full-time in Xfinity in 2019? And then I was just curious. Like, obviously, it's not going to happen because he's had 20-plus concussions during his career. So he's pretty much done right now. He doesn't want to have another one. But yeah, so I believe it was like 59% said yes. But, and obviously so because it's Junior. But, yeah, it was just awesome. It was so cool to just see him right up front again. Man, it was awesome. And also, Christopher Bell swept both Richmond races this year too. So
JGR swept all 4.
Yeah, and also Allgaier, he had some problems. He ran into some problems again. I know that's Kamikaze's favorite Xfinity driver, and it would just suck just with the season he's had if he's just eliminated at the Roval next week. That would break my heart, honestly. Because he has 5 wins because of races. Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Xfinity isn't cutting off next week.
Yeah, that's right. The Xfinity playoffs actually started.
And plus, he's probably the favorite to win anyway at the Roval. But
I don't know. I think I like Austin Cindric.
A meteor could crash on the track and wreck his car. Yeah. I could believe it. He is Allgaier after all. That is his luck.
If the 60's out there, they're all at risk.
Yeah, and the 60 wrecked again. I think that's 11 DNFs already to this point.
Just from crashes. Mm-hmm. That's not even mentioning the crashes where they stayed in the rest of the race.
I gotta say this. Right now. I gotta say this. It's gonna be funny, but the 60 team is worse than the Cleveland Browns. They are. They're way worse than the Cleveland Browns ever were. It is way harder to have 3 different drivers and to have 11 DNFs by this point in the season. 3 different drivers have been wrecking that car. It's unbelievable.
And this week it was their teammate wrecking the car. So technically all 4 of Roush's Xfinity drivers are contributing to wrecking that 60 car.
I know. Reed got into him. And even who was driving the 60, Ty Majeski, was even like, what the hell? He just spun us. And I'm like, well, you're driving the 60 car, so that's your luck. To think that this team won the title in 2015 with Chris Buescher. I don't know if it's the same team or not, but it's the same number. So if you think the 60 car goes from championship all the way to 3 years later, just becoming a total meme at this point.
Oh my God. We should probably talk a little bit about the ratings, I would think.
Right? Yeah. So the interesting thing, or you can say if you want, Jared.
The interesting thing is the Xfinity race had an increase in ratings, a little Dale Jr. bump there. And it literally almost matched the Cup Series ratings. We had a beautifully ugly 1.0. 1.77 million viewers, down 17% in both ratings and viewership from 2017, down 38% in ratings and 34% in viewership from 2016. Yikes. Yeah. Are we just going to hide from the problem anymore?
Well, NASCAR media is, the mainstream NASCAR media is, they're just acting like nothing's wrong. So
they haven't had somebody actually address the problem since Jim Hunter died in 2009. I mean, I think part of it too is they picked the absolute worst time and worst day for this race, and I'll give a reason why. Is historically short tracks get lower ratings unless it's the Bristol night race than normal races do. Whether it's Martinsville, Richmond, the day race in Bristol, they always dip in viewership. So you already have a race that's going to be lower than the other ones around it. On top of that, Saturday night races always have lower viewerships than Sunday afternoon races. And now you've put it at the same time as college football on a network that most people just ignore. I know that 85 million people have it, but most people ignore NBC Sports Network and Fox Sports 1. And when you look at it comparatively to TNT in 2005, which had about the same amount of people subscribed to it, the ratings have fallen over 70%. Like, this is unsustainable.
Yeah, I don't think we need to make any more of this Richmond race than it already is. I mean, it's being run on a Saturday night. It's a slightly different date for the Richmond race. It's on NBC Sports Network as opposed to NBC. TV ratings across the board are typically falling for every sport. They don't tell the full story, but I'm not going to sit here and beat around the bush. Obviously, we know the TV ratings are a problem. We've known this for a couple of years now. So I'm not going to sit here and let this blow my mind. I'm going to instead focus I want to focus on the Xfinity race because you mentioned it. The Xfinity race had an 8% increase in viewers. In other words, they had about 70,000 more people watch the Xfinity race this year than they did this time last year. That's all because of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s presence. And this is, it goes to show what I've kind of been saying since the beginning, how I think star power is the biggest thing hurting NASCAR the last couple of years. You lose Dale Jr. this year. Now all of a sudden, I think we've had like 6 races this year in the Cup Series hit like all-time viewership lows. It's not surprising. NASCAR racing this year, the racing on track, at least the second half of the year, has been outstanding. Most everyone agrees on that. And yet the ratings continue to not improve. And maybe people just aren't getting the word out. I think a little bit contributes to the fact that NBC is continuing to put almost every race on NBCSN as opposed to NBC. I think that's a little bit of it. But I just think more than anything, it shows that star power is what's completely driving the sport forward. When Chase Elliott won at Watkins Glen, people lost their minds. It was a great day. You had ESPN, top story, Chase Elliott wins. We haven't seen ESPN talk about NASCAR in years.
Oh, yeah.
I just think star power is the most important thing. Obviously, the racing has to change, and I think NASCAR is on the cusp, it seems, of making some possibly major changes to that. So, but eventually, I think some of it honestly falls on the fans. I think some of us, we aren't doing a good enough job promoting the sport. The racing's been as good as ever, and yet if we can't get fans to come back and check it out, like, what are you going to do? I guess you can say, NASCAR is just over the last decade of different things has killed off those fans entirely. But I would hope not. I would hope there's still a decent amount out there that are willing to give NASCAR another shot. They just need to be aware that the racing has been better this year and that, at least it seems in the case of the Richmond race, despite almost no promotion for it, they knew Dale Jr. was racing there. So that was with that. Sorry, I'll say one quick thing. I got off track for a second there. But about that Richmond race as well for the Xfinity series, NBC didn't promote Dale Jr. at all. Like, they barely promoted Dale Jr. They barely mentioned it. It was not the top story. The top story was playoff start for Xfinity series. Dale Jr. didn't even tweet about it until like a few days before, I don't think. I remember him finally tweeting about it. And I'm like, I haven't heard him tweet about this at all. He finally was like, hey, I'm going to be in the car this week. No promotion. Race was still on NBCSN, and yet 70,000 more people watched it than the year before. And like you said earlier, it's starting to near the territory of the Cup Series in terms of viewership. I just think that's the real story here. NASCAR needs superstars. Superstars have left. Tony Stewart's gone. Jeff Gordon's gone. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is gone. Those are the 3 biggest superstars I've known since I've been a NASCAR fan. And unfortunately, until Chase Elliott starts winning more, we're not gonna have anyone to replace him. Kyle Busch is not gonna replace these guys. People are bored. People already have made up their opinion about Kyle Busch. They've already made up their mind. They're not gonna have their minds changed. Enough people hate him that it's not helping viewership that much. So sorry, that's my long point. What do you think?
This race is the lowest watch. Like, the Cup race was the lowest watched in recorded history. Mm-hmm. That's how bad it was. Like, and that adds on top of also Saturday night rain delayed races starting at 12:30 in the morning, kind of thing. I mean, I just nobody else will talk about this. Like, everyone just is trying to get past it, but it's like when is everyone going to wake up? Because other than the NFL, which I think that's a whole different deal with why their TV ratings are dropping, no other sport's falling as fast as NASCAR. I mean, we're entering numbers now that are comparable, and closely comparable with IndyCar. And that's no disrespect to IndyCar, because I think they're having better racing than NASCAR over the past 2 years, 3 years. However, I can't remember, when I started getting back interested in it, but it's like they've had better racing. I think a big part of it's star power too. And I really think that really the only people coming up that are actually going to grab star power outside of the sport, because like star power in the sport, Dale Jr. was winning in 15 and 14 and the rating still dropped. I think that what the sport needs is somebody who will grab that star power from outside. And I really, maybe this is too early to talk about, but seeing how she was just on Ridiculousness, she's on all these other shows that are more mainstream than NASCAR. Do we have to wait until Hailie Deegan jumps in before we have a mainstream driver?
I was just about to say that. Deegan's been everywhere. She was on like entertainment, like that entertainment show on like, can't remember, on like that entertainment channel or whatever it's called. She was just there and stuff. She's been promoted like all over. So, I mean, Deegan's only 17 too, so it's going to be a while before that happens. And you also have to remember that by the time she's in the Cup Series eventually, like, hopefully that does happen one day. Like guys like Larson and Elliott, they'll be more established. But are they going to be on the same level as like a Junior was or a Gordon was or a Busch? Probably not. I know everyone keeps talking about, the negatives and stuff, but let me just offer solutions here. Just let me say this. NASCAR does have a YouTube channel with over 300,000 subscribers. They see ratings are down. My thing is, why not just start streaming the races as well? You still have the TV deals going, and also just stream on your channel. They go hand in hand. You'll pull in a lot more audiences that way. And plus the internet is way bigger than any TV station is ever going to be anyways. But it's NASCAR. They're obviously not going to do it. And also with these television contracts, I mean, NASCAR did this to themselves. They saw that NBC and Fox were offering a lot more money to have their races on networks, on channels that, quite frankly, like a lot of people get them, but compared to network television and ESPN and TNT, how many people have those channels? It's not even close. I mean, IndyCar, I'll give them props for this. IndyCar, they've started streaming some of their races on there. They stream Indy Lights from time. I think every time they have a race, and they stream practices and all that stuff too. So, I mean, NASCAR, like get with the program. You need to start streaming these races.
I think that's a good solution. And I want to make two other comments. One's sort of unrelated. I do think it's unfair to put pressure on Hailie Deegan the way she has. I honestly think Hailie Deegan's she's way overhyped, in my opinion. That may be controversial to say. She hasn't even won a K&N Series race. She's finished second time.
No, twice. She's ran good. Twice. She's consistent.
She's consistent. That. She looks good. She'll probably be in the Cup Series one day, but I'm worried she's overhyped. So I want to just throw that out there. So it's unfair to put that pressure on her. But my biggest problem with people with these discussions, and I like that you're trying to come up with a solution there, Darian, and I agree with you to a large extent. But I honestly think, you asked Jarrett, when are we going to start talking about this? People need to start talking about this. I don't think anyone needs to talk about it. I don't think we should talk about it at all. I think at this point, NASCAR understands. I've heard that. I read an article literally like 30 minutes before we went live with the new president, or the guy who's going to be the new president. They know ratings are down. They know attendance is down. It's obvious. I think at this point, the only people we need to convince that ratings are down, they need to do something, is NASCAR itself. I think the problem is when I go on other YouTube videos, that aren't NASCAR like channels, but they make a NASCAR video, every comment is about how NASCAR's failing, about how NASCAR sucks, about how NASCAR's a disaster. And I think, we need to change the public opinion of NASCAR. And I think if its own fans continue to go around, lamenting about the good old days and how the ratings are so down, that just creates such a negative air around the sport. And maybe this is, I don't know if this is the right way to say it. This is my opinion, I think, but I just feel like if we consistently talk about how bad the sports situation is, like we're a vocal piece. We have 250 people watching right now. Even more are filing in and out. That's a lot of fans that are hearing us talk about how bad NASCAR's ratings are and how disappointing its future could be. I don't think that's good for us to talk about. I honestly think, maybe this is like a Big Brother sort of like kind of situation where we it's propaganda almost. But I don't think we need to keep talking about it, at least not in that sort of way, unless we're offering up specific solutions. Because at this point, NASCAR is aware. I think NASCAR knows that something needs to change. If we want to talk about things that should change specifically, which we do all the time, and I think that's great, that's good. But when it just comes to ratings came out again, we had only 1.5 million people watching. That's the worst since like the 90s. Oh my goodness.
Ever.
It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any good at this point, which I don't mean to because I feel the exact same way you feel right there, Jarrett. I just think it starts with us to create a more positive atmosphere around NASCAR. Because I'll be 100% honest, NASCAR could change the racing entirely, make it the greatest racing we've ever seen, and I don't think that many viewers would come back because I don't think, at least not America, I don't think the United States of America really cares about auto racing anymore. And I think because there's a stereotype there in this modern age, as you know, the world, the country's gotten more progressive for better or for worse. NASCAR is no longer seen as, you know, the powerhouse or as incredible as it once was. There's a negative stereotype around NASCAR, and I don't think it helps when its own fan base is constantly criticizing it publicly. And again, I don't want to like silence anyone because we all have the right to criticize, but it has to be for the right reasons. And I don't know if that makes any sense, and I'm sure everyone's split, maybe agrees or disagrees with me. But that's kind of why I've always tried to make my channel pretty positive. You know, I'm always trying to find a solution. I'll talk about the negatives, but I always talk about them in a sense that I want to find a solution. Brian France caught, drunk driving. Oh, that sucks. Positive. Now he's no longer in charge of the sport, and now NASCAR can distance itself from him.
Hallelujah.
That's kind of how I think of things like that. And I mean, I'm curious we haven't heard from Kamikaze in a minute. I want to hear what he has to say about this whole topic. But I just think that it starts with the fan base. If the fan base can be a little more upbeat about NASCAR, they don't have to love everything NASCAR does. They obviously don't have to be happy with the declining TV viewership. But if we can start to direct the focus of all of our conversations away from that, I think that could help contribute to, improving the sport in the public eye. I don't know if that makes any sense. I really just came up with that at like the 10 minutes ago, but I don't know. I'm still working on my opinion there.
So I have a theory, but I want to hear Kamikaze's opinion.
Right. I like the idea of positivity, but I can't justify being positive at this point in time when we see things happening the way they are. Like every single time there's something positive to take away. Chase Elliott wins. This is good. Most popular driver by far in the sport. He's won. It's a feel-good story. Everyone's talking about it like you said, but then you see the ratings, they decline. All you see after the Chase Elliott win is how Brian France is incompetent. It's hard to stay positive when things like this are just being shoved directly in your face on a minute-by-minute basis. I would like to stay positive, but I can't. Because when I think of just taking things positively, and I know you don't mean just like ignoring problems. I know that's not what you're talking about, but that's kind of what it feels like. And especially when you look at SiriusXM, you take a look at Dave Moody, who has me blocked on Twitter.
And also our friend
Huh?
Danny B. Our friend Danny B had a little bit of a conversation with him.
Talk about that a little later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Let him tell that
Moody's
story.
gonna have NASCAR YouTube community block before it's over. But hey, if it makes him feel better. Anyway, but you see all these spin doctors on SiriusXM. They ignore the problems and pretend like everything's okay. I'm looking in my I'm cutting out. The internet here is trash, but
I can hear you okay. I think we can hear you all right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah, I think it's just the camera that's cutting out. But anyway, yeah, I can't. It feels like when I'm not talking about something that's negative, because it's always good to balance the positive and the negative. But I feel like if you take the focus away from the problems, those problems don't get solved. That's why none of these problems have been solved, as they've been building and building and building all this time. Like at some point, you just have to either accept that NASCAR is not going to listen, or you just have to collectively shout loud enough for them to take notice. And I think we've been trying the collectively shouting part. So I definitely agree that maybe we should try a different tactic. Let's try being positive and see how that goes. I just don't. That's not my style, I guess.
No,
That's what I'm trying to say.
I completely agree with everything you're saying, and I think that's the point. Is I don't want it to sound like, I think you're right. I don't want to sound like we should ignore problems. I feel like often fans make bigger deals out of some things than I think they need to be made out of. But yeah, I agree with what you said. I think there's a point where we've been shouting as a fan base for like a decade now as this decline has kind of happened. And I agree, it's hard to stay positive when a lot of things haven't really been changed for the better in that decade. But I'm just convinced that, especially this last year, I feel like there's been a lot of progress made in the last year where I think positive changes are coming. And I think maybe that's what's in my head right now is I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I think finally we have gotten through to NASCAR, and that going forward, starting even next year perhaps, I think they're going to start trying to make changes for the better. And I guess I'm trying to think of maybe like starting now, almost like starting today is maybe the opportunity for us to start to feel a little bit more positive. But obviously you can't change anyone's opinion. NASCAR is definitely, there's a lot of negatives going around NASCAR right now. I completely feel you. It's hard to stay positive on a weekly basis, but I guess it's nice to try and look for them. But I know everyone has different mindsets there. But I like that. I agree with you, and for the most part there.
And also, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you've been waiting.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So I just wanted to say just this really quick theory. I thought about this today while I was in class. So the reason I got into NASCAR was because my mom would watch it all the time and stuff when I was younger. So naturally I started watching it, and that's when I fell in love with it. I feel like the sport is not connecting with, at least people are in our age group, because basically their parents have just like grown tired of the gimmicks, and they're just not watching anymore and stuff. And it's also the same for people who are younger than us as well. I mean, if you see your parents like watching football or basketball or something like that, naturally you're going to watch it with them. And then you'll start to fall in love with the sport, with them and all that stuff. But the gimmicks have grown. There's just too many gimmicks in NASCAR now with the whole playoff system and all these rules changes, and the cars and the racing just suck, that the older fans have they just don't care. They just don't care anymore and stuff. And naturally, if they're not watching it, I don't think their kids are going to watch it either. So, I mean, that's just one thing. I don't think that's really talked about enough, but I don't know. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah, it's a family tradition sport, and I just, once you take one of those links out, it starts, the whole thing starts unraveling. I keep, like, for years I've been hoping that stuff gets better. In 2011, I was like, oh, finally stuff's getting better. And even 2013 with the way the ratings were, but it's like it just comes a point where I sort of just, you got to accept at this point how far it's gone, and that if they can just say it in a speech like Brian France used to do his drunken State of the Union address, if he could just address it, just say, yes, it's a problem, we're working on it, we know about it, I think that would do so much to put the fans at ease, to be like, okay, at least they know something's wrong. Because we've been sold the same story since the ratings have started to fall, attendance started to fall, and national prominence has started to fall. Of the sport's great, it's better than ever. I mean, just basically this. I think that's what they've been saying, really, for the past 10 years now. Is we're fine, the sport's fine. And it's like at some point, enough people got to be like, no, it's not. Just address it. That's all I want by bringing this up. Just address we have a problem. Mm-hmm. Like the reason I brought Jim Hunter up is because back in 2007, 8, when the sport started having a few problems, he addressed it. He talked about it. Ever since he died, it's just been that giant elephant in the room that just keeps squeezing everything out. And I just feel like if we can just finally say, hey, this is the problem, we're trying to work on something, I think to do a number to set NASCAR as a base at ease. That's all I want, really.
Yeah, they just talked about it. It would do wonders, a lot of wonders and stuff. But then also you have some of these NASCAR fans who just drink their Kool-Aid no matter what, probably just saying, oh, it's fine. Like all TV ratings don't matter, nowadays because of the internet. I'm like, NASCAR doesn't even really utilize the, social media in the right ways anyways. Like if let's say like NASCAR, this whole ratings thing, if it came out, let's say like, oh, well, also NASCAR was streaming on their channel at the same time. So it kind of goes hand in hand and stuff, maybe, because you have more people watching on the internet. If that happened, then that's a different story. But NASCAR, they don't like their social media accounts. It seem like they're ran by a bunch of old dudes who don't know anything about social media at all. They're still stuck in their whole early 2000s, their whole 2000s mindset, like early 2000s mindset, where NASCAR can do no wrong here and stuff. And until we address these problems, and until you can finally get people who actually know what we're doing, like us, we'd be perfect to run NASCAR social media accounts and stuff, especially the YouTube channel. I guarantee you, we probably get up to 1 million subscribers in no time, but that's just me. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many problems that NASCAR needs to address, and until they address them, NASCAR is just going to keep seeking lower, and lower.
They got to abandon legacy media. That's what they got to do. They got to abandon legacy media of television for online. And if NBC won't allow it, Fox at least take the experiment. If it works, NBC has a basis to go off of, because I would assume that the internet is the level playing field of the NASCAR season when it comes to diehard NASCAR fans. And I would honestly argue, based on the fact that they don't have, I think based on the fact not having Darrell Waltrip and his boring of races, NBC would have more people watching online than Fox would.
These two channels, these two networks, they have YouTube channels, by the way. They have YouTube channels.
And they don't really use them to promote the sport. They used to. But as the sport's fallen, they've sort of just fallen off. I have no problems other than the Waltrips with Fox Sports Live. I think their live team is fine. What I have a problem with is they, in general, it seems like the upper management doesn't care about the sport as much. And I think that if they just put as much effort as they used to even 5 years ago or so, I think it'd be perfect. I think we would have I don't think there'd be as much criticism across the board, except for the random people who used to think that Fox Sports was worse than anything else. I don't know who I'm talking about there. But other than that, I don't think we'd have that much of a problem. I think that we need to work on new media that's growing right now. You know, I don't know. I mean, we keep saying these points that work. Eventually they have to listen, right?
Well, we've been saying them for years. They don't seem to. I hope. I've said 2020 is going to be the complete rebirth of the sport. It's already kind of going in that direction with the crazy silly season we've had so far, which we'll get into later. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on it.
Last thing I just wanted to say, I just think, the point is, I feel like we've talked about this a ton over the course of this year. And every time we talk about it, we're like, NASCAR still doesn't change anything. And I think we forget that NASCAR is a huge company that has a lot of people that it relies on to thrive. And they can't change anything on a whim. I like that you guys mentioned there 2020, 2021. That's when the schedule is going to change. That's when the cars are probably going to change a little bit. The cars might even change next year, but they can't do all this mid-year, like this mid-season. So wait until next year. If they don't make some small strides next year, then we can be a little concerned. But if they start to make some small gains or small changes next year, and by 2020 or 2021 they've started to make some more significant changes, then we can really judge them as to whether or not they're in trouble, or whether or not they've really heard us or been listening this whole time. But I just feel like right now, we can't expect every change to happen overnight. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. But
and also just lastly, I want to plug this in. As far as streaming goes, I'm trying to work something out with Las Vegas Motor Speedway to start having live streams of the races that happen at the bullring. There's a race there in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to work something out to where I do like a test one where I show them, this is what, this is the idea I have. So I'm going to set it up to where I have, my laptop set up to where you can view the whole track and you can just watch all the short track racing that happens. It's pretty good racing, by the way. So hopefully that goes somewhere. But yeah, since we were talking about live streaming, I just want to plug that in.
Yeah, and really quick, click that like button.
Yes, click the like button, everyone. Let's get it up there. And also subscribe to the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series official YouTube channel. It is in the link in the description.
Should we talk about then, since we were talking about silly season, about how we were right?
Yeah, I think we've called some pretty good stuff so far on this show. But yeah, so I'll start really quick since our last episode Wednesday, the big news happened. It was at the end of last week, over this weekend. Ryan Newman is going to the 6 car for Roush Fenway Racing.
I was right. I predicted that. I said that. I was right.
Good.
I just want to point that out.
Good job, Darian. I predicted that as well in a video, but you don't see me saying anything about it. But anyway, Newman's going to the 6, so he'll be replacing Trevor Bayne and Matt Kenseth in that car. I don't know, general thoughts. My only thoughts there is a lot of people were asking me, like, what does this mean for Matt Kenseth? Matt Kenseth, there's a good interview with him from him on ESPN.com that I read. He was basically offered the 6 car full-time, said no, he doesn't want to race full-time because he wants to spend more time with his family. He's basically done with his career. So as a result, they went and got Ryan Newman. Matt Kenseth still plans on being involved in some sort of capacity with Roush Fenway. Trevor Bayne is on his own, don't know where he's going. So that's really the story there. I think it's a good move for Newman. I don't really think the 6 is any better than the 31, but I think he wasn't going anywhere with RCR, so I think this is an okay move for him going forward. But what do you guys all think?
Wait, Kenseth was offered a full-time ride?
They asked him if he wanted to drive. He told them, I do not want to drive this car
full-time. Oh, man, that would have been so awesome. So it's not Roush's fault. At least they tried. At least Roush and them tried. I'll give him props on that. But the Newman to the 6 is a terrific move. That team needs stability, and they need it now. Trevor Bayne has completely, well, it's not just him, but he's the driver as well. I just made a bus video on him a couple of weeks ago, and that team is just sinking fast. So I'm glad they have Newman in who can at least bring some stability. Doesn't bring a ton of sponsorship, I don't think. I don't think he brings any sponsorship. So it looks like Roush will have to sponsor that car like on his own, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see him in the 6 car though. He'll obviously do way better than Trevor Bayne, probably. I think that's a given.
Well, I mean, a stationary car half the time can do better than Trevor Bayne. At least it won't hit anything. I don't know. I mean,
well, and Kyle Larson, but we won't talk about that.
Newman, I don't know. He's just slowly but steadily, ever since 2003, just slowly but steadily being growing more and more irrelevant. He has a few flashes of brilliance here or there, but at the very least, he'll run the same. At the worst, he'll probably run the same. I mean, I honestly think that's how he's going to be. He's probably going to run the same. I will be interested, though, seeing how much he usually struggles at plate tracks and how good Roush can be at that. He could make the playoffs, hypothetically, with a win at Daytona or Talladega. I mean, that Roush has been pretty good at the plate tracks the last couple of years, especially. Help from Stenhouse or, those two team up, who knows? And then Priest to the 47. I think we talked about that during the Bobby Allison stream, so it's pretty awesome. Just saying.
Yeah, it's funny. We predicted that. It's funny. We
predicted. We didn't really predict.
I'm sorry. We just broke the news on that in like late July, and now everyone's all of a sudden like all surprised, Priest of the 47. But we reported on that long ago, and nobody seems to be giving us our props. But also don't forget JTG is switching to Toyota too from our source. That's what our source said. So nobody's really reported on that. So you guys just wait on that.
Yeah, and then Gregson with the 1. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Okay, let me just say this, by the way. I got to ask you, Kamikaze. I tweeted at you today. How do you like Michael Annett, but you don't like Noah Gregson? I don't get it. I'm sorry. I just do not get that logic, to be honest with you. I feel
I'm here. I'm gone.
I got to be
Please
honest.
leave a message after the beep. Beep. Your call has been okay. So, what you want to know, my friend?
Why? Why do you like Annett, but you don't like Gregson? I don't get it. It's so confusing.
Okay. Michael Annett clearly is not that good.
Yes. Oh, that's an understatement. That is a huge understatement.
And apparently, when I said that he would, if he got a crew chief change, he'd start performing better. And since getting a crew chief change, he has started performing better. Ooh, this is strange. So, but the point that I want to make about Michael Annett, and I've said this before, I really don't even like him that much, at all, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel sorry for him. Because everyone,
I wasn't expecting that.
I can't imagine what it's like to jump onto Twitter after every race and having every notification be, Michael Annett sucks, okay? Like. Michael Annett is trash. Like. Michael Annett caused cancer. Oh, like and retweet that one. I can't imagine. I get a lot of stupid comments directed towards me, but like to have the kind of status that Michael Annett has in the NASCAR community, like I feel his pain. I know, like when he's had maybe 2 interviews this season, and you just see him, he's just so like, yep, I'm here. And I can see past your facade there, Michael. I know what you're feeling inside, and I want you to know I'm here if you need a bro. Okay, Mike. I just think Michael Annett needs a hug. That's honestly everything. Plus, I like how his car looks.
But what's the matter with Gregson? I don't get it. I don't get it either.
You've been watching trucks this season?
Yeah, he's been doing all right. He's been doing pretty good.
All right, you say? Oh.
Yeah, made the playoffs.
Did you do all right at Dover?
Well, that was his fault.
Did you do all right at Dover?
That was his fault.
It was.
Yeah,
Did
that
you
was
do
all
right at Canadian Tire?
Oh, he was. Well, yeah, he was a complete idiot for that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's still consistent, though.
Interesting, you would say that.
So consistent.
Consistent, yeah. He's consistently able to take a race-winning truck and put it in 10th. That's what Gregson's good at. He goes out, he gets the pole, most likely wins the first stage, and then by the end of the race, he's either behind the wall or behind Brett Moffitt.
But he's funny.
Yeah, he's really
a frat boy.
Funny.
He's a godforsaken frat boy. All right, he's that pompous douchebag who's at the top of the frat ladder. He's the guy that every freshman bows down to because he's got that street cred.
Oh no!
You know?
Let me just tell you something. You just mentioned bow down to Gregson. He's like 4 feet tall. I can guarantee you nobody's bowing down to him. They have to get all the way down there to bow down to Gregson because I seen him. I met him in person. That guy is really short.
One day we're gonna get a stream and have Ty Dillon and Noah Gregson on, and I will make sure that Kamikaze are on.
That is for sure.
What's going to happen is I'm going to come on that show. You're going to be saying like, oh, it's just a regular show. And then they're going to pop in the room and I'm just going to be like on a shooting range. I'm just going to be standing there like, guys, I didn't agree to this.
No, but I mean, back to Gregson really quick. I mean, I'm a fan of his and stuff. And when he runs Xfinity next year, that'll be my favorite driver as well. But he does have a burden of expectations on him that he does have to meet. Elliott Sadler in that one every year he's driven for Junior Motorsports has made it to the championship 4. So if Gregson can't do that next year, then I think that's a problem. Then I'll start to say like, okay, now I can kind of see what Kamikaze's talking about here. So basically it's championship 4 or bust for Gregson.
I think both drivers are overrated for the cars and trucks that they drive, but only slightly. I don't think either of them's horribly overrated. I just think they're both slightly overrated. If anyone wanted my opinion, which I guess they didn't.
Wait, the other driver being Moffitt?
The other driver being Annett, Michael Annett.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about the truck series. Sorry.
No, Brett Moffitt's underrated, if anything. I don't know what he's doing this year, but he's winning. How many wins does he have this year? Like
he's the Ross Chastain of the truck series.
Yeah, basically. Well, I don't know if I call him the Ross Chastain of the truck series. I mean, he did win Rookie of the Year in 2015, though. So, I mean, he has had accomplishments, but then as far as opportunities go lately, not really.
Wait, Rookie of the Year in what, Cup?
Yeah, 2015.
Who the hell else was there?
Nobody else.
There you go. Kevin Conway won one year.
Stephen Light won in 2012, by the way, and he only ran 12 races.
All right,
so.
now, can't be disrespecting Stephen Light. All right, got to draw the line there. You can disrespect Michael Annett all you want. I got to draw the line at Stephen Light. All right.
Kamikaze, you like drivers that just don't do
standards.
anything. I don't get you. You like drivers that just don't do
Guys,
anything.
Auto Rock and Racing 94 said watch Moffitt get the Bowman treatment and label him as a rookie.
They probably will.
Probably.
Oh my god.
In every other season.
Oh, and also just some more silly season news. So RCR is going to have a press conference on Friday. More than likely, Daniel Hamrick is going to move up to the 31.
Yeah, that's how it seems right now. Which, I feel like going into this, that was one of the top candidates. I think some people thought maybe Ty Dillon could go to that card and it'd be just the Dillon team, but quickly those rumors were squashed.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping, and I guess I still am, but it seems unlikely. I was hoping maybe Matt DiBenedetto would get consideration for that car, but it sounds like they're going into full rebuilding mode, going with Daniel Hamrick, who's got no cup, or he's got very minimal cup racing experience. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's okay. From what I've heard, they've been in conversations also with Daniel Suarez about going to that car, but recently that kind of fell through. I think there was an issue with sponsorship there. Daniel Suarez is basically going to land to whatever team Eris is willing to give the most money to.
That's the 41. Oh my!
I think the 41 is actual possibility. We can talk about that in a second. But I think Hamrick to the 31 makes sense. I don't think that team gets any better, but it's a move for the future, and maybe a few years down the line something could happen.
Hamrick, he's just interesting. If there were no Cup guys, he'd probably have like 6 or 7 Xfinity wins. I think What If will have to do the stat check on that because he has a whole book. Like he has a whole journal basically with non-leech wins and stuff like that too. So he keeps track of that. That's pretty cool. But Hamrick, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to put him in the 31. He's been driving for RCR for 2 years now, I think. The other possibility would have been Ty Dillon, but Ty Dillon's he's just seems like he's pretty settled at Germain Racing, tanking that team. But
well, rumors had it that Hamrick wanted to run the full season in the 8, but then Teresa Earnhardt sued him.
These have not been confirmed.
These aren't confirmed. Just rumors.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Sounds like a pretty reliable source. It's going to be up.
Potentially. I don't want her to sue me too. Oh no, I just thought about the old Budweiser days. Oh, I'm going to have to pay her. Damn.
Yep. Oh, wait, hold up. You have a diecast right there.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. You got to pay her. You're getting sued.
Is that Dale Earnhardt I see over your shoulder?
Oh no, I got to pay for that too. Don't talk about anything else in the back.
I can't. The rest are just 88 stuff. So she can't do nothing about that.
Speaking of Daniel Suarez, I think he is currently in the most interesting silly season situation because his name has come up with 4 different race teams, 4 big, well, not big, but significant teams. Obviously, Joe Gibbs Racing, he could end up staying there. That seems unlikely, but he could. He was originally linked to Levine Family Racing because the rumors they're switching to Toyota. Then all of a sudden, people started saying he could go to the 41 car. Don't know where this came from. 41 car is the best car available, and no offense to Daniel Suarez, but he is not the best driver available. And then, of course, the 31 car also has had some rumors. Right now, signs point to he could either end up in that 41 car if Eris is willing to give a ton of money and sponsor them. Because this is kind of complicated, but from what I've read, I've followed a bunch of people on Twitter that are always talking about this. Eris is locked into a deal with Joe Gibbs Racing, so they have to sponsor a car there for next year. But they are considering moving with Suarez to a different car to sponsor him some over there as well. I've also heard reports that they might pull out of NASCAR, maybe won't sponsor Suarez at all. But if they do sponsor Daniel Suarez, if they're able to come to an agreement, good chance he ends up in the 41 car. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so we can waste that ride too.
I think he'll be a playoff contender. I don't know if he'll make the playoffs, but he'll be in contention.
Just let me say this for the record.
Ryan Newman was a playoff contender this year.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's not a big compliment, but he's not gonna suck in that car. He won't be as good as Kurt Busch, at least not at first. For sure.
I just want to have it on the record. I don't hate anybody, even though it seems like it. Hate's that's a strong word that
the results
that I rarely use. Yeah, I just don't like the results and stuff. I don't hate anyone. I just question results, especially on my channel. And I just love the whole comparisons that a few of my followers have given me. Well, Joey Logano, he struggled early in his career. That's not even comparable because Logano was 18, 19 when he got his Cup Series ride. Suarez was 26, 25, 26 years old. And that's usually when drivers start to start to win races and start to enter, in their primes and stuff. So that's not even comparable there. So I just want to shut that down.
I want to say something about Suarez.
Oh, gosh.
Because just watching – well, no. It's nothing bad, actually, for once. But it's been strange watching his Cup tenure, basically, because after winning Xfinity Championship in 2016 – thank you, by the way, Cole Witt.
Yeah, accidental.
Ever since then,
accidental championship.
Yep. Ever since he got to Cup, he went straight into Carl Edwards' car, and it's just Edwards. He just disappeared from the sport. He just one day popped up on the TV and was like, "Bye, guys," and he's never been seen again. But then that's just the first of many strange things that have happened during Daniel Suarez. About 11 races into his rookie season, Dave Rogers, the crew chief, also just says "bye, guys" and disappears.
Yeah,
because he realized how bad he was. He realized how bad he was.
Harris and all that. It's been weird.
Yeah. Not to mention Subway dropping out unexpectedly.
And that's another Harris. I remembered last year's Subway. They just disappeared. I mean, didn't disappear. Obviously, they found a loophole. Is what they did. So it's just been strange. I don't understand what it is about Suarez's career.
I know I'll agree. It has been really strange. Like some of these moves and stuff that have kind of come, like losing your crew chief in your first season, like 11 races in. I've never really heard of that. And also Edwards just retiring like out of nowhere too. I remember that. That was just a shocker. And yeah, he's had, weird occurrences during his career and stuff, but still racing for Gibbs. So he should have no problem making a 6. I mean, if you can't make a 16 driver playoff system, that's a huge problem. Like, just to put this in perspective, Junior, if we had the playoffs in 2005, Dale Earnhardt Jr. would have made the playoffs. That's how bad the standards are for making the playoffs are. And Jarrett can agree with me. He probably has the
Michael Waltrip would have been on the cutoff line going into the last race at Richmond in 2004, and he was completely he was always pretty bad, but he was still pretty bad back then.
And also Terry Labonte too. He was also on that cutoff line too.
Yeah.
Terry Labonte in 2004 would have been in playoff contention. That should just say enough. That's it. And I think Sterling Marlin too. That's it. I gotta say nothing else.
Marlin was in it with 5 races to go.
See?
Until Biffle won. Yeah. I'll do something on that in a bit. I gotta get time between classes and work, but yeah, that's something that y'all can expect in the future.
Yeah, but Jarrett does. I think Jarrett, it's you definitely agree with me on the whole Suarez deal, correct?
Yeah, the results haven't shown, man. They just haven't.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I like Suarez as a person. I really do.
Yeah.
I really hope he is like Joey Logano, where this change of teams, change of manufacturer, change of everything across the board fixes it. Because he is somebody who I think is really good for the sport based on, how he came into the sport and just based on the personality. He's a personality. He's somebody who, if he did well, you could root against Kyle Busch and root for Suarez.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of those kind of things. Like, I want him to do better, and if he does get the 41, I hope his career completely turns around for the better. I hope he proves all of us wrong. It's just he's got to prove it. Like, I wouldn't have thought Joey Logano would when he went to Penske in 2013, but he proved me wrong. So,
believe it or not, I want Suarez to do better than what everyone thinks. Like, I want him to make the playoffs and stuff. I want him to win races. I think it would be amazing for NASCAR as a whole to see a Hispanic driver just go out and dominate races and stuff. Like, I want that. But the problem is I just don't see it. I just don't see any, just anything that indicates he'll eventually start dominating and stuff. He'll start, running in the top 10 consistently and stuff.
Again, I don't want to be like the rest of them, but we didn't see it with Logano either. I mean, the best he did was win on a few mileage race with Mark Martin.
I don't. I gotta disagree with you there. Like, yeah, like he was inconsistent. I'll get that, but there were glimpses like, oh, he's running inside the top 10
there were
here.
glimpses, and there was been glimpses the last 2 years with Suarez. I mean, it is a very similar position, just an age difference.
The problem is, yeah, that's where it gets me. The age difference there. I mean, Logano, he still had plenty of years left. You know, he was 18 years old, like 19 years old, still in the Cup Series. Meanwhile, Suarez, while he is a rookie, he is 25 years old and stuff. Junior was 25 when he was a rookie. Stewart was like 26. Johnson was like 28, I believe. Newman was like 28, like in that range and stuff. So, and they started running competitively out of the gate with terrific teams behind them. Suarez, while he has shown glimpses and stuff, he has had some top 10s here and there and stuff. It's just he hasn't been able to put it together yet.
I mean, for Daniel Suarez would be if Hamrick does go to the 31 next year, because Daniel Hamrick, I believe, is 27. So we'll see how his stats compare.
Yeah.
And how old is Chastain? Because he's going to be in Cup at some point. You know he is.
Chastain's like 26 or something, I believe.
And I'm saying competitively in Cup.
Yeah.
So 26. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we might get back to that a little bit because the whole youth movement, I mean, it really hasn't panned out. Whereas you see guys like when Brad Keselowski came up, I think he was like, 24, 25? He wasn't exactly the young kind of driver like a Joey Logano when he came up. So, I don't know. I hope he does better. I'm not going to hold my breath for now, but if he does, I will be pleasantly surprised. So that's my take.
And also, Chastain is 25. That's what the chat said. So I was close.
Oh, he looks older.
Yeah.
One thing Daniel Suarez has that Joey Logano doesn't is an Xfinity championship. So
an accidental Xfinity championship.
It's a championship.
Hey, I know. I'll give you that. It's still a championship, though. It was by accident, but it's still a championship. So
it'll be interesting to see where he ends up going because, I mean, say what you will, he's arguably the second biggest name free agent right now besides Truex. So,
that's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much a done deal right there.
All right. Well, with that, we're at almost the hour and a half mark. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the Charlotte Roval this weekend?
My
goodness!
Oh my god!
We got something 15 minutes ago. Danny's leaving work, so he'll probably jump in pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
So be ready, chat. He'll jump in and not be mute.
So, the Charlotte Roval is this weekend. This is the first time NASCAR's ever raced at this configuration before. Xfinity and Cup will both be racing. Playoff races for both. This is the cutoff race for the Cup Series, which is going to be, that just adds another layer of drama to this whole thing. All we've seen, the only track time we've seen is some tests over the course of this season. We've seen a lot of wrecks in these tests.
Hilarious test, by the way. Just comedic.
If it's any indication of how the race is going to go, it's going to be a disaster. There's a lot of unknowns. Everyone's trying to figure out how to make any sense. Everyone's looking at they're like shaking in magical 8 balls trying to figure out what kind of racing we're going to see this weekend and make any sort of predictions. But I guess we can all give our thoughts about the race and then we can go into picks. So are you excited for this race, Darian?
Oh my gosh. I have been looking forward to this race since the playoffs started, man. And this is going to be a perfect ending for round one. This is going to be it's going to be kind of a disaster. But eventually we will get good racing at the track once, drivers start to, get used to running it and stuff. So I believe when Infineon was first on the schedule, I believe some guys had some problems running that track too. And this was like in '89. So like guys like Earnhardt and Waltrip and all those guys were having problems running at Infineon there. Well, I guess Sonoma Raceway now, but yeah, they were having problems there and stuff. But I think this is a race where anyone, honestly, I'm going into this race thinking it's like a Talladega. Like anyone has a shot to win this race, at least in my opinion, because we haven't ran at the track before, because it's also a road course and stuff. But there is the possibility we could be overhyping this race a little bit too. We also have to watch out for that. I mean, the race might start and boom, it's a complete snooze fest the whole time, But it is a road course, and road courses usually aren't snooze fest. Well, except for Sonoma this year kind of was anyways, but Watkins Glen was pretty good. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get with this race, but I'm certainly looking forward to it.
It does kind of feel two different things. It feels like a plate track coming up by the way they're talking about. I think, honest to God, I think that guys like Harvick and Truex are more scared about this race in Talladega, which that's impressive. And two, I'm scared that we've overhyped this so much that if it's nothing short of like a 10 out of 10 race, people are going to be disappointed even when we get a good race. I think it'll be one of two things. It's either everyone's just going to sit in line and then it'll be an all-out crash fest at the end, so it'll be like 2012 Sonoma, or it's going to be really good. You know, I think, Eric, you talked about it in your video. I don't think really anyone is in that middle ground. I'm certainly not. I personally think it's going to be a good one. But I'm really scared that more as fans and NASCAR as a whole have overhyped this. And, you know, because you can overhype something and it's good and still people will be upset with it, kind of thing, you know?
Right.
I'm hoping that that's not the situation we're in. I personally don't think so. I have mentally prepared myself to see this race as more of a demolition derby than anything. And then once we get everybody who came into the Cup Series from 2013 on, once they're out of the race, then it'll be an actual race and we can see who will win.
I'm going to just say this. This is the most excited for any race that I have been in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see it. Like, ever since it was announced, I'm thinking this is either going to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. And either way, it's going to be entertaining. But you're right. There's a very good chance we've overhyped this. I mean, considering all the wrecks that have taken in just basic testing, I think it's got a very good chance to not disappoint. But there's always that hanging in the back of your mind idea that it's going to disappoint, but I don't think it will. I'm so hyped.
I think this could easily be, and hearing your reaction helps confirm this. I think this is arguably the most highly anticipated Cup race we've seen in, I don't know, somebody give me another race to compare it to. Can I think of one?
Ooh, like hype heading into the race?
Yeah, as in like this
Maybe
specific
the car tomorrow.
Maybe.
Honestly. I mean, that race was pretty hyped going into it, and it wasn't a bad race either.
I feel like the 2013 Daytona 500 was hyped because Danica was on the pole, and it was the first Gen 6 race. And that one did disappoint. That one was a pretty crappy race.
2012. 2012 was like that extra day just added to the anticipation, and that delivered.
That one delivered. So, yeah,
I have faith. I know I was a little not as faithful earlier, but about this race, you know, at the very least, we can compare how they compare to us on Heat 3. So.
Oh yeah. If you guys watch the preseason race at the Roval, there's a reason that we didn't have cautions on. Because if you just watch it. If you haven't watched it, go watch it.
But I'm excited.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good race. I don't know. I feel like it's either going to be a crash fest or it's going to be kind of dull and drawn out. I feel like you're not going to see very much passing, which even if there's a lot of crashes, I feel like a lot of people critique it for that reason. There's not going to be a lot of like green flag passing. But the one reason I think it's going to be a success is purely because of how the venue itself is set up. I looked a couple months ago about getting tickets to go to this race, but with, you know, the middle of the school year and living, you know, across the country from it, I couldn't pull the trigger. But I was really excited about this because this is going to arguably be one of the best fan experiences I think anyone's ever had at a NASCAR race. Because I've been to road course tracks before, not in NASCAR, but I've been to Circuit of the Americas here in Austin for a different thing. And as far as I can tell, with every road course, you can't see all the way around the track. You can only see your section. You know, road courses, you have to walk from area to area to get to the different grandstands often. It's not all condensed into one area. And so you can't, even though it's a road course and that's fun for a lot of people, you can't experience the entire thing. With Charlotte, with their huge grandstands, no matter where you're sitting, not only can you see all the way around the track, but everything is condensed into one area. The garage is still in one area. The concessions, the merchandise, and everything's all in one area. You're going to literally get to see a road course. Like this is one of the only tracks where you can sit in the stands and see the entire road course. And you don't see that very many places, and you obviously never see it in NASCAR. So I think for the fans at Charlotte, I hope it's close to a sellout or at least a very big crowd because it deserves to be. I think for the in-person fan experience, it's going to be one of the coolest races ever. I wish I could go, and I'm jealous of those who do get to go. But
That one guy you guys had on when was it? During the summer, that Elijah kid.
Elijah Burke.
He lives in a freaking condo at the racetrack. My first question was, well, how? Because he just graduated. So Ganassi, like, he works in the business field for Ganassi Racing now. So yeah, they hooked him up pretty well, and he gets to watch the race from basically his home. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and in the chat, Squirrel O brought up that David Land did say this is the closest to a street circuit that we'll probably ever get in NASCAR too. So, I mean, I can't really see too many downsides just looking into it, just off of what we've gathered so far and how it's going to be, and the fact that the most dominant people in the sport right now are afraid going into this weekend just shows me it's like this is more of an unknown than the plate races have been since we've had the Gen 6. Like this is big.
That chicane on the backstretch, that's what you call it? I am really concerned about that. Like, what if a car just slams into like one of the things and then it just bunches up everyone and stuff? And if that happens on the first lap, I'm going to be dead. If like 20 cars pile up on the first lap.
Have you guys been paying attention to Nixon's uploads lately? How his shitty chicane series?
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling that this one's going to appear on there.
It's going to have its own video, I'm betting.
Probably.
It's going to have like a feature-length film, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Just broadcast the race.
Yeah, live stream the race. Shitty chicanes.
Oh, I don't really have any way else of saying it. I think we're all on the same page here. We were just all hyped up. I wish Danny was in here to see what he'd have to say, but he's probably the same way.
Yeah, like even my mom's hyped up about it. She's like, yeah, hey, can we go somewhere to eat to watch the race and stuff? Like, do you want to do that? I'm like, heck yeah, like of course I want to go there. So I want to go to B-Dubs, by the way, but she don't like B-Dubs, so we'll have to try and pick another place. But yeah, honestly, a lot of NASCAR fans I think it's safe to say every single NASCAR fan is hyped for this race.
Buffalo Wild Wings will have 60 TVs on, but I guarantee you they'll still all be pointed to football.
It'll be the same game too.
It'll probably be the same game too.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think you guys are right. I think this race has been horribly overhyped. I think it's going to be, if it lives up to this hype at all, I feel like we're all going to just we're going to all feel like we died and went to NASCAR heaven. I tend to think it's not going to be an amazing race. I think at the end of the day, everyone's going to probably say it's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Probably had some good wrecks that some people liked. Probably had a few good passes or battles for the lead that some people liked. I think overall it's going to end up being somewhere in that middle ground, even though everyone going into it expects it to be one or the other. It might end up still sticking in that middle ground. I think it's going to be more of a wreck fest, but I just have this sneaking suspicion that it's going to be more tame just a little more tame than maybe we think. But so I know Danny isn't here yet, but hopefully he shows up soon, perhaps. But do you guys want to go into? You guys want to try and make predictions about this race? Do you guys want to try and do our winner, our win, our bust, and our underdog picks?
Jared, do you have your hat again, the one that you used for Daytona to just pick out the names and stuff? Or I mean,
I've sort of cheated with some.
We need to get a random number generator again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that.
What the hell? Why not?
I mean, I don't know what to say about this race, or at least what to predict. I mean, this is going to be a hard one to predict for.
I actually have a few predictions, I'll be honest. They're just random off the wall, kind of just throwing stuff out. So I want to look at Daniel Hamrick, who is in this race. He's entered, and he's done a lot of testing for this event. So I would put him up there with one of the drivers to watch. He probably won't do that great, but I'd say keep an eye on him. Also, Hamlin, he's been very good on road courses in the last 3 years, and road course, and he needs to win pretty much to get in. So he'll probably do everything in his power to win. Also, for the stage breaks, there will probably be some cut line drivers that'll stay out if some of them decide to, short pit with 2 to go and try and get some points that way. But those are kind of just my off the wall kind of take a look at this when the race happens predictions.
I think that's interesting how depending on how cautions or how the stages line up, fuel mileage and strategy like that's going to potentially come into play big time. But yeah,
who's gonna suck? Let's do
yeah,
that.
we'll start with who's going to suck. I have a random number generator that I'm debating whether I should use. Although for my who's going to suck pick, I actually have a confident choice. So is it okay if I go first?
Oh yeah, definitely.
My who's going to suck. I think Ryan Blaney's going to suck. He wrecked here during testing. I don't know off the top of my head his stats at road courses, but I can't remember him ever running exceptionally well on any of them. I assume they're not good. He's a young driver. I don't think the young drivers are going to do very well. He's been super inconsistent. He had a bad run at Richmond. He's in one of the most high pressure spots as far as the playoff grid is concerned. I think he has a bad day, finishes outside the top 30, probably wrecks at some point. Whether it's his fault or not, he probably wrecks at some point and misses the next round. So that's my suck pick.
I'll go next.
I'll have my random number generator. All right. It's not focused.
Oh, I see his light. 13.
Ty Dillon will suck.
That's an easy one.
Wow, that's an easy one.
Congratulations.
Now that is a bold prediction right there.
That is such a bold prediction.
He actually wins.
So for my who's gonna suck pick, Allmendinger, because he always does. He's one of the most overrated road course drivers in NASCAR history because of his. I mean, look, he's just so overhyped. Like you come into every road course there. You always talk about him, even though he had that one win in 2014 at Watkins Glen.
They talked about at plate tracks about Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon, and no one ever had a problem with it, even though since 2007 they only had one win combined.
Yeah, but again, that's like
Talladega.
Yeah, that's a little different though. I mean, Junior, he had won like 4 or 5 races all the way up until he stopped doing good at that point. And Gordon's Gordon, but Allmendinger though, man, like you get into these road course races and he beats himself. Sonoma was a good case, and Watkins Glen, they just didn't really have a good car that weekend. But yeah, AJ Allmendinger, yeah, he's gonna be trash.
The poor guy just got kicked out of his ride, and you're going to come over here and call him the most overrated road course driver.
Hey, I made a bus video on Steve Park the day his throwback was announced. I have no limits.
That is fair to say.
To NASCAR Reddit's dismay.
What about you, Kamikaze? Who's your gonna suck pick?
Gonna suck everyone. I'm gonna guess everyone has an issue at some point. I'm
not far-fetched there.
He said,
no. Everyone except for Jeffrey. Jeffrey's going to win. That's my pick to win.
I'm sorry. He said, did he say I'm going to suck every... I'm sorry. I thought that was funny. All right, go ahead.
No, I'm not. Everyone else will, though.
All right. Who is our dark horse?
All right, dark horse. I have to turn to the random number generator here because I do not have a pick. Okay. On Google. Does anybody drive the 57 car?
Norm Benning.
Well, actually, Dylan Smith in Grip Dog's NASCAR series.
I'm going to generate another one. Does anybody drive the 50 car?
No.
No.
Oh, God. Well, hold up. William Byron does in.
No. Generate another one. Oh, okay. Here we go. My underdog pick for this race apparently is Jamie McMurray. I guess he's gonna. Since I'm just now learning, this is my dark horse. I think he's gonna avoid the wrecks. Somehow he'll probably cause one of them, but he'll sneak through regardless.
You're gonna be disappointed.
Get himself a top 5. Hey, I'm trusting the magic of Google.
All right. Well, it's my turn to generate a number for my underdog pick, and my underdog pick is another number that, oh my God, is actually used. This is way better than last time. Can anyone see it?
Oh,
William Byron.
William Byron
will be my underdog due to attrition.
All right, that's the only way you can justify that pick, but all right.
He will run so slow he won't get in the crashes.
He'll ride around the back like at Daytona, and it'll work out for him.
Watch, that's actually a strategy someone uses in this race.
It could be, for all we know.
Run in the back for the first 2 stages.
I'm kind of glad that Kamikaze talked about Hamrick for a little bit there, because he's actually my dark horse pick for this weekend. Like he's like Kamikaze has said, he's done a ton of testing down there. This is his 2nd career start, and who knows, he might pull a Trevor Bayne and win in his 2nd career start, or a Jamie McMurray here. Remember, Jamie McMurray won at Charlotte in his second career start too.
Oh wow, Danny's just in time.
Great. He's
Hello.
in time to make his picks.
Well, let's have Kamikaze give his underdog, and then we'll have Danny can give his picks.
Oh, wow, yeah. I
I'm
think we
waiting
have
for my
some time.
random number generator to load. So you go ahead.
Danny, who's gonna suck?
Everybody.
That's what Kamikaze said.
My man.
Even the winner is going to feel exhausted after this race. You know it.
Oh, so who's your underdog?
My underdog, it's going to be Alex Bowman. He's really surprised me with how he's done in this opening round. And definitely, I'm sure that the team is well aware of the opportunity they have to advance, even though a lot of people counted them out. So I can see them still stepping up and surprising us.
That's the
Ooh.
number generator generated.
My number has been generated. Can you see it?
Hold on. Oh,
20?
Eric Jones.
Ooh,
Number 20.
That's a risky one.
Yeah,
he's
it is a
really-
risky one, but he's performed way better than I expected him to in every road course race this season. So
That's
I got to
true.
give it to him. There's a chance if he avoids the wrecks, anything's possible.
I don't know, man. This race is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. I had to throw in that reference there.
Real quick, guys, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat me some food here. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, is that mayonnaise?
Is that mayo? Is that mayo?
This
Is
egg-
Danny prostituting himself again on the internet?
We're on my channel this week, Danny. You can put it away.
You damn cam girl.
It's egg salad. It's delayed egg salad. It was well requested last week, and now I got the egg salad.
Oh my god.
So
you can thank Claudia for this idea.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our race winners then. For this, I actually do have a prediction. I mentioned in my video today that I uploaded. My pick to win this weekend is Brad Keselowski. I think he's typically a good road course racer. He's a veteran with experience. I just think he gets it done. He's also been he's been the hottest team in the sport the last 4 or 5 weeks. So I think Keselowski gets it.
And didn't he do good? He did good at Richmond too, didn't he?
I mean, yeah, he finished 9th, but he had a top 5 car all night.
it is time for the generator to generate.
Please pick Stan Barrett.
Dear God, I really hope one driver's driving in this car this week. Please tell me it's Trevor Bayne, because I want to laugh.
Yes, it is Trevor Bayne this week. Matt
Bayne
refused.
will win.
All right.
Number generator has spoken.
And there was just a bust video released on him.
You know what? In this race where everyone is going to suck and crash, he'll suck and crash as usual and then win.
So everyone's gonna crash, and then he'll just win by default.
By attrition. Yeah.
You think it meant Ryan Newman and it just got a little off?
Oh,
Probably.
yeah. Yeah.
Possibly, yes.
That one's a little more realistic.
All right.
God, my most realistic pick on here is Ty Dillon. And I just went through puberty again.
All right. So I said he was gonna win this race months in advance. Actually, if you don't remember, Chase Elliott is gonna get win number 2 at the road courses. He already has the best track. He has the best average finish on the road courses this year. Got a top 5 finish at Sonoma, and then he got a win at Watkins Glen too. So Chase Elliott, he's not gonna shock the world this time and get his first win on a road course, but he'll lock his spot and he'll lock his way into the second round of the playoffs. And yeah, Chase Elliott Nation is gonna be pretty happy this weekend.
I could see that.
What, you couldn't see Trevor Bayne winning?
No, I think someone in the chat, and I agree with them, I think you accidentally had your number generator on upside down.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Probably flipped the screen on me, but yeah, it was 6.
I'm going to take this opportunity to say I agree with Darian, and Chase Elliott is also my pick for this weekend. Like Darian said, he got the win at Watkins Glen, 3rd place finish at Sonoma, and fun fact, they're using the same Sun Energy paint scheme that they used at Watkins Glen this weekend, so he's going to get another win on that car.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
Sorry, in the chat, if Chase Elliott wins, does Brian France get another DUI? I shouldn't laugh. but
Who
that
put
is-
that?
Or no, Jim.
Jonk's Queen. All right.
Or no, Jim France.
What would-
Jim France does.
What would be worse is at this time he'd probably be like there in Charlotte, so it would be like right there.
Jonk's Queen, you have won the trophy of best chat of the day or chat of the
gosh.
day. I don't know what the hell we call it.
Now everyone's going to try and one up each other with their edginess. Oh no, what have we encouraged?
Oh, you know, none of them could beat me.
Yeah.
You've all been in group chats with me before.
I don't know. Kamikaze seems like he could be pretty edgy.
Look, when it comes to being an edgelord, okay, I 100%ed Shadow the Hedgehog on PS2. All right, I am the king of edge.
That's impressive.
Please.
Challenge accepted.
It was painful, but I did it.
Real quick, Kamikaze, did you change locations or something?
No,
it does
I
not look like the
just
same
moved
background.
over from there because I didn't want to be in the dark anymore.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the light.
That's where I was mere moments ago. Well, maybe an hour by now. All right, so my random number generator gave me a winner that I think many people are going to wish.
Ooh.
Number 48.
Ooh.
I can't believe
And let me tell you why I agree with the almighty number generator. People have been doubting Jimmy Johnson for a very long time. I think you all know what happens when you doubt Jimmy Johnson. He makes it to the Final Four and wins the championship. That's what happens when you doubt Jimmy Johnson.
Basically.
So please stop doubting Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson, I could
No,
see
seriously,
okay.
I think, well, I don't know. How much testing has Jimmy done, really? I'm sure he's done most of Hendricks, but like, I don't know. He's been okay at road courses, I guess.
Just the
Got
disrespect.
the one win at Rockins. Oh, he got the one win at Sonoma.
Yeah.
And I'd say, like, you'd
Oh,
probably have to
yeah.
compare Charlotte Roval to Sonoma more than Watkins Glen, probably. I
Yeah.
think the way that the corners are shaped and the speed differences, I think, yeah.
Was that the one where Marcus Ambrose just like stopped it completely on the track?
Yes. Trying to
And then
save
we got one of the
field.
best sound.
I remember watching.
We got one of the best post-race sound bites of all time.
I remember
I
watching.
don't remember
that
who
race,
was.
and literally everyone's like, "What is he doing? Why are you trying to save gas going uphill?"
And the thing is, he didn't even need to save gas, I don't think.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
he was fine.
He would have been fine, but he just said,
You
oh,
played yourself.
basically. But just really quick, just the disrespect that Johnson has gotten this season from fans is absolutely appalling. I saw a tweet the other day that said, oh, Chad Knaus is not a top 10 crew chief anymore, and Jimmy Johnson's not a top 10 driver anymore. Even though Johnson's like struggling and stuff, he's still considered a top 10 driver to me. Like as far as like talent goes, you know, he's obviously a top 10 talent still, and Chad Knaus is still, in my opinion, still top 3 in, you know, as far as crew chiefs go, despite, you know, it not going their way and stuff. I mean, just the disrespect that Johnson's gotten is.
I don't know, man. You might have to do a bus video. No sarcasm.
It might have to do a bus video on Johnson there.
Was he overhyped all along?
Yeah, he was overhyped. Instead of 7 championships, he should have won like 8 or 9.
Screw those 80-something wins.
Wins.
That doesn't mean anything.
Is he a bust in the Xfinity Series though?
Yeah.
He only has one win, but he keeps wrecking. Jimmy Johnson busts Xfinity Series.
That'd be a
That'd be
great
a good
video. That'd be a
Big
great
one.
video for like April Fool's Day, you know.
Yeah.
I think he also had like only one Truck Series star at Bristol and didn't.
Oh, don't even get me started on that one. That was bad.
Should do a bad seasons review. Brian France, 2018, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Okay,
4.
you can go forever with that one.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to do a bad seasons on Michael Waltrip because a certain other Eric keeps spamming him in my comments. So I just do a bad seasons on him eventually.
Bad careers.
Yeah, you might see a bus video on Waltrip.
I was about to say which season. Like, there's a bunch of them.
Oh, probably 2005. I've already done 06 and 07, so probably 05 because that's how bad Waltrip was. Like, he got the best team at DEI. He got a team that previously won 6 races the year before, and he doesn't even make the chase. That's how bad he is.
He still managed to be. I think wasn't he still the second DEI car that year?
Yeah.
And every race Truex was in, Truex outran him.
Yeah. Basically.
That's funny.
I don't know. Is Michael Waltrip considered a bust to many, or is he? Not really.
I don't think you can, because he kept his career alive for so long. And 2 Daytona 500 is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. I'll give you that. All right.
Yeah.
I made our picks.
I think we said
Yeah, we've just about wrapped this thing up then. So is there anything else? Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Anything else we want to talk about in the chat? Is there anything we haven't talked about that you guys want to hit on?
I think we've hit on everything tonight, to be honest with you. And
are we going to shamelessly plug the Pro Series for the 4th time tonight?
yes, I would love to. So beginning November 30th, witness one epic battle with the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series beginning this offseason, November 30th. We're already doing preseason races. Watch me beat everyone again this Friday as we go to Talladega and Atlanta. I can't wait for those tracks. I believe those are the 2 fastest tracks on the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series circuit too. So there's that. Can't wait. And also, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series channel. The link is in the description. It's already at like 350 the last time I checked. So yeah, let's see if we can get it up there.
Watkins Glen on Sunday, I believe, too.
Oh yeah, Watkins Glen on Sunday as well. No cautions for that.
Sadly, I can't do that one, but I will be able to do Talladega and Atlanta on Friday.
Yeah, so yeah, it's the first race was fun. The second race at the Roval was
very fun.
Yeah, it was very fun for you. You won the race, so of course it was fun for you. But yeah, can't wait to do that. And also Kamikaze, I believe, is going to be racing this week as well. I was about to say Daniel Reynolds. Dale Reynolds is racing as well too, and
even I might probably make it.
Yeah, hopefully Jarrett makes it too. My teammate, I need my teammate there. So
hey,
yeah,
I'm your teammate.
My other teammate.
Hey, Carnation's your teammate. Give him some respect.
Yeah, I know. My other
it's
teammate.
A 2-car operation here, Darian.
It's a 4-car operation. Yeah, yeah, Carnation. He'll get better. Carnation will get better with time.
He's probably better than me. Let's be honest here. I've played this game 3 times. That's it. I have until November to be serviceable.
Eric is like our Toyota friend who we just really like, and we'll help him with his car here and there.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you. It's okay. I'm a team of 1. What is it? Lightning McQueen, Mr. Incredible. Who else is a team of 1?
Rowdy Burns.
Yeah, there we go. That's who I am.
Oh, you're also Robbie Gordon too. He was a team of 1.
Heck yeah, I am.
You're Kevin Conway.
That's why I wanted the Roval. Okay, yeah. In all seriousness, definitely go check out the link in the description down there. Go subscribe to the YouTube Pro Series. Also, subscribe to all 4 of these fine gentlemen right here. Do you guys want to do outros? Y'all ready to wind this thing down? I know Danny just got here. He's probably wide awake, or maybe not. I don't know. He's probably exhausted from selling cars all day.
Sylvie Gang, that statement's correct.
I ain't been selling nothing today. I'm still in the early process of training. But hey, real quick here. We got 214 people watching, only 142 likes. What is up with that? Everyone lick the like button.
Lick the like button, guys. Come
Lick
on.
it.
What's wrong with y'all?
Treat her right.
Oh, hold up. We also forgot. Danny, you want to talk about your whole Dave Moody thing?
Oh, okay. So we got to talk about this. So,
That'll be fine.
so I'm listening to Sirius XM radio for the first time because part of what I do with the Toyota job is get to drive a few newer vehicles, and they come equipped with XM radio. So at one point, I'm just driving a truck, saying how I like it, and then I hear him getting into conversation good on Dave Moody's show, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pull over, put it in park, and call in. And well, it wasn't the best experience. So obviously, when they first answered the phone, they said, "What's your name?" And maybe I messed up. I said my name, my actual name, Daniel. When maybe I should have said, "Hey, this is Danny B." Well, when they brought me on, they said, "Hey, we're with Daniel," and I said, "Hey, yeah, this is actually Danny B from Danny B Talks on the NASCAR YouTube community, and then he just basically stopped me right there, and he was like, I don't know what you just said or what any of that meant, but it made no sense whatsoever. I thought he was about ready just to hang up on me right then and there. And so I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm definitely not. I definitely apologize." Anyways, so I got on with that, and I mentioned what I called in about what I thought Richmond was going to be like, who I thought was going to win that, and yeah, that just kind of made it quick and got me off, and got me up the air, and I was like, "Okay, well, that went way different than I thought it would." And
what an ass! I swear. God.
It's like what's it matter if I say, like, you know, like, I'm sorry you don't know who I am, but you know what? There's a lot of people watching your show that might be familiar with me.
I'm quite sure. A lot of people are on YouTube.
A couple people out there.
You know, I've checked my demographics, and surprisingly, the majority of my fans, like, you would think a lot of them are like kids, but there's a lot of them like from 20 to in their 40s who watch my stuff.
Same.
Anyways, just move on from that. So then I sent out a tweet, and I was like, "Hey, Dave Moody, I apologize. You didn't know who it was when I called in. Hey, it was good talking NASCAR with you." But then he just turned it around and was like, got so hateful about it.
Yeah.
And was like, he's like, you could sense a lot of sarcasm in what he tweeted back, and what really rubbed me the wrong way was like, "You kids have fun." Like, what do you mean have fun? Like, what do you like? Yes, it's fun, but what is that supposed to mean? Like, you think it's just some stupid thing that kids are doing? Like, this is actual fans who want to gather around and give opinions on the sport, not people who for lack of a better term, have been paid by NASCAR their whole career to give opinions that are going to be supporting everything they do.
I mean, that just shows the disconnect between.
He's mad because our generation's his replacement.
Yeah,
well, I also started listening more on his show and really picked up. He treated a lot of fans pretty rude who called in, and he treats a lot of fans rude on Twitter, and especially talks down about millennials and young adults.
Gee, I wonder why millennials aren't watching NASCAR. Probably because older fans talk the most mess on millennials like us.
If you ask me, when I got to, like, obviously I don't have Sirius XM radio in my personal vehicle, so I've only got to listen to it when I've been driving cars for the dealership. And what I've noticed is that Dave Moody, although he's a heck of a race commentator on race day, his personal, like, the personality, way he treats fans and stuff, I don't know how he's getting paid to do what he does, because he's honestly not that professional of a person.
Balto brings up a good point. Moody's trying to get to Jim Utter levels.
Look, I'll just say
that's just me. I'm not trying to start a beef between me and Dave Moody. Like, that's not what I'm about. I'm better than that, but just I called in just trying to be nice and have fun and throw into the conversation. It's just like everything I've tried to say to him has been took a whole other direction. It's like, you might be a professional at this, you might be getting paid a lot of money, but it doesn't change the fact that you're rude as can be. That's all that there is to say about Dave Moody. He's a rude guy.
And also, I just wanted to point out, I mean, if I looked like that, I'd probably be mad too. I'd be mad at the world too. So
I'm not going to go that way. I'm not going to say anything personal about it. I'm just going to say, he's a pretty.
Why not?
Rude guy.
He is.
I'm a better person than that. I'm not going to let. Okay. Eventually, here's what I want. I want us people like us who like to talk about NASCAR at such a young age. When we are Dave Moody's age, I want us to be doing that. On if YouTube's a bigger platform, if it's still the same platform, maybe doing that. Maybe if NASCAR wants to get onto YouTube's platform, maybe we're doing something bigger than we can ever imagine right now. Or maybe one day we are the people that Sirius XM radio is interested in. I don't know. That's 20, 30, 40 years away. I don't know. But, if I was eventually, I think there's going to be people our age in a position like Dave Moody's in. And I don't want it to be ran the same way that it is right now. I want it to be something where you don't see people as beneath you, as stupid. I want to see, You're just an ordinary person, and that's all you need to act like. Okay, that's over. Rant from Danny B's done.
I think that's
Treat,
what
treat
I
The high
people,
road,
treat people
but
as equal, and
all
you'll
this
live a
makes me
better life.
want to do is prank call him.
Oh, and also one last thing too. Jared, didn't you say he like yelled at a kid too?
Yeah,
Take a picture?
I saw him do that once. I think it was. I was like that. That's all I had to. That's all I had to see to know the kind of character.
He yelled at a kid for taking a picture. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think that about wraps it up with that.
Someone
Yeah.
said Danny B versus Dave Moody, 12 rounds. All right, let's
think it
go.
lasts that long.
This will be the next Logan Paul versus KSI. Danny B versus Dave Moody.
Well, when they have their thing in LA this spring, that'll be the opening fight.
Wait, it's in LA?
Gosh,
Yeah.
imagine if we actually had the power to get something like that going.
I have the power. Yeah, we probably should do outros now. I'm starting to do stuff. I'll go first. So I'm the Iceberg. Thank you all for watching. New video coming out next week, Devil's Advocate, and then Missing Rings on Thursday. Should be a pretty good one. It's already a highly requested one since the beginning. No one guessed what it is because I don't want to give it away. Please lick the like button on here. Subscribe to all these channels. All these guys are awesome. And until next time, whether it be Tuesday or
Kamikaze
Wednesday,
just left.
well, bye, Kamikaze. And bye to the rest of you as well. See you next time.
Oh yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe to everyone. I did notice one thing we forgot to talk about was the whole package, but I mean that's rumors and stuff. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later on in future podcasts. Also, go check out my latest upload, Kyle Petty Good Seasons 1992 to 1993, and also make sure to see whoever's streaming this Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and also 7 p.m. Eastern time for the NASCAR YouTube Pro Series preseason at both Atlanta and Talladega. And if you are a part of Black Flags Matter Nation in the Pro Series, go ahead and spam it in the chat. So go ahead and do that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.
Wait, you didn't plug in where we're going to be next week for the stream.
Oh, I forgot. It's back on my channel, everyone. The strike's over. I'm finally out of YouTube prison. I'm free. I get to stream again. And also, I have super chats now that are on this time and stuff. So that's right. We're going to have Dylan Smith on next week and Real Radman, I believe.
Yeah, we still got to talk to him, but probably. And then I don't know who else. There might be someone else.
Yeah, so Real Radman and Dylan Smith. Don't worry, I gave Dylan Smith the right time this time, so he will be on for sure. I didn't butt fumble that, and so it'll be on my channel. So I can't wait, and I'm super excited. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.
And this is Danny B. Talks, hustling and grinding, selling cars left and right. We want to get you into a new car at Danny B. at Beeman Toyota in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm just messing with you. I am a car salesman by trade now, but so I've been here for maybe a total of 20 minutes, like 30 seconds at the beginning. I got my egg salad. Everyone paid enough last week, so I brought the egg salad with me. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I about finished finally with my season review parts 4 and 5, throwing it together into one video. Hopefully that'll be coming out maybe by Friday, maybe by Thursday if I can get it out in time. But it should be up by Friday, no less. Hope everyone's had a fun time on the stream. Again, Dave Moody, you're not that nice of a person, but that's whatever. Also, don't know if y'all mentioned it any in the stream tonight, but rest in peace, Greg Hotnett. That was really terrible what happened with him. And that's it for Danny B.
And yeah, on behalf of our guest, KamikazeGames, who I guess lagged out there at the end. If he comes back, we'll let him say bye. But if not, want to thank him again for being on our show. He's always a great guest. Always fun to have him share his opinions around the world of NASCAR. But anyway, for me, I'm Eric. I'm your host this week. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do Out of the Groove multiple episodes a week where I talk about basically do this, but in a more condensed, edited format where I just talk about racing. I had 2 new episodes, one up yesterday about this rules package rumor, and then one up today that talks all about the Roval. So if you missed either of those, be sure to go check those out after the stream here. But yeah, I think that's about going to do it. Go subscribe to all these guys. Go subscribe to the YouTube Pro Series down below as well. Should be fun. This has been a good stream, everybody. Hope everyone in the chat enjoyed. I guess we'll talk to you.